Hello everyone, welcome to the Green Man channel. Hope you're all good and well. So in tonight's album review, I'm covering the fourth solo album from Emma Ruth Rundle called Engine of Hell, which was released via Sargent House label on the 5th of November. The album is 8 tracks and 41 minutes in length. And this is a bit of a diversion for Emma Ruth Rundle from her usual kind of post-rock really ambient sounds that comes with a lot of her albums. And I'm sort of used to hearing her really unique voice midst the kind of amazing sort of ambient spacey backdrop of wonderful guitar tones and effects, which really kind of just give this amazing this really quite sort of stunning atmosphere to a lot of her music of the past. And I know that perhaps part of the reason for this album may be that she has creatively split and divorced, I believe, from her husband Evan Patterson, who was a big part of those previous albums. She also was actually, with her collaboration with Dow last year, was my album of the year in 2020, with an absolute, in my opinion, a banger of a record, which I've been back to many times since last year, which makes me feel like I kind of justified having it at number one on my list, although Ulcer Rate were very, very close and could perhaps switch on occasion with that as my number one prospect. Anyway, I'm going off on a complete tangent. But the point is she's done lots of really great albums, I think, in the past with her collaborations and with her backing band as well, with Evan Patterson. And so this came as a bit of a shock to me in a way, because I'm just so used to hearing her voice in the context of those ambient or really atmospheric atmospheres. You know what I'm trying to say, hopefully. But with those beautiful guitar tones, underlying all of her sort of interesting vocal phrasings and nuances. But this time round, it's just her kind of bearing her soul to us. And you get a really minimalist setup. It's like she's kind of almost recorded this live, or it feels like a live type of record in a way, with you kind of in a room with her, listening in the audience to every note and every expression in her voice, which sometimes is so gentle and so whispery. It's almost very haunting in a way, in spite of the closeness of this record. And I think the strength in this album is certainly coming from the uniqueness of Emma's voice and its sort of personal nature, that this is a really intimate record for you to completely lose yourself in. It kind of wraps you up in this deep darkness of both mystique and of almost melancholy, as you're sort of listening to her lyrics and listening to the sort of very, very gentle kind of piano melodies and guitar melodies. It's sort of, I think, track to track. Like the opening track, Return, is a very light piano melody repeating in the background, which works pretty well with that song, I think. And then you get something like Bloom of Oblivion, which is slightly more acoustic based. Really liked track 6, actually, which was slightly lighter and brighter, and a really nice kind of something that kind of refreshed the album. When it was kind of really, pretty dark album we're talking about here, but Razor's Edge had a slightly lighter feel to it, I felt, and that was probably the effect of her choice with the key she was playing in the guitar, I think, and everything. And that worked really well for me. So as a whole, this was yet a big diversion for me from her usual stuff. I don't think that was a bad thing. Although I would say, if you were to give me the choice of playing on Dark Horses or this album, to be completely frank, I would probably choose on Dark Horses, because it's more my mood, right? It's not that I dislike Engine of Hell at all. And in fact, I think it's a really brave album from Emma Ruth Rundle, and I would give this album as a score an 8 out of 10, I think, just because I have a huge amount of respect and admiration for it, and for her as an artist, and that I think it is a really good album. It's not my taste so much, quite. If it was my taste, perhaps I'd score it even higher, to be honest. But I just think it's a real kind of soul searcher, bearing your soul kind of an album, which wouldn't necessarily be one I'd go to out of choice, particularly if you're in a reasonably good mood. You know, this album is going to really kind of mellow you out a bit. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the album review. Do feel free to do the whole clicking on like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the album review, or if you want to check out other album reviews on the channel as well and get feeds about those, or you know, the other stuff I do on the channel about sci-fi, fantasy and horror. Otherwise, take care everybody, and bye for now.